In less than 4 hours, a new year will kick in South Korea. And to welcome the next 12 months, we have our reporters connecting live from popular locations across the nation to give us a closer look at how the crowds are getting ready to ring in 2019. In the last meeting with his top aides, President Moon Jae-in provides praise and encouragement to officials. But he also highlights the need to continue working just as hard to create an inclusive nation and ensure peace on the peninsula. And in the last cabinet meeting of the year, the government votes to increase the nation's minimum wage by around 11%. This comes even after smaller businesses complained of struggling to cope with the previous pay hike. News Center begins now. It's 8 p.m. here in Korea, live from our studio in Seoul. This is Arirang News Center. Welcome to our program. I'm Daniel Choi. People all across the country are ready to celebrate the coming of a new year. Our reporters are braving the sub-zero temperatures to show us how Koreans are partaking in the celebrations. First, let's turn to our Park Hee-jun at the iconic Bosingak Pavilion. Hee-jun, how are things looking over there right now?
Hey Daniel, it's that time of the year again here at the Bosingak Pavilion, which is one of the most famous and most popular places to be at New Year's Eve. Now we're expecting around 10,000 people to arrive here tonight. So as we draw closer to midnight, things are going to get even crazier. You're probably going to hear the noise right now, things heating up behind me. Now we actually have around a couple of hours left until the actual bell ringing ceremony. But the crowds milling around are clearly excited and ready to celebrate. There's no way to really escape the freezing cold even if you wear lots of layers and use heat packs. But that's not stopping families, couples and friends from coming out on the streets and having a blast in the final moments of 2018. Now let me share with you the excitement here at Bosingak. Take a listen.
This is my first time experiencing this event, so I'm just really excited to be here. And I'm just excited to see all the stuff that's going to go on.
I came from Busan. I've only seen this event on TV and it's my first time to come in person. I can really feel the year-end atmosphere and I'm so excited. I'll be watching the bell ring tonight and I hope everything goes well next year.
Honestly, I'm still getting used to saying 2018. I can definitely see the year-end vibe over there. Anything particularly special about the Bosingak event this year?
Well, the event itself isn't exactly something new, and we've been covering this every year. But what I can tell you for sure is that things are going to be even more exciting and even more livelier than ever before. Now, let me run you through some of the key events for tonight. You're probably going to see the timetable for the ceremony right now, but what's going to happen is the lineup itself isn't especially new, but there is something a bit extra this year. Next year marks the 100th anniversary of the March 1st Independence Movement and the establishment of the country's provisional government. So we do have special events prepared for that. But of course, the highlight is the actual bell ringing ceremony. 16 people, including the Seoul mayor, will be ringing the bell. And this year's 11 notable citizens include Lee Guk-jong, a surgeon best known for saving a North Korean soldier who was shot while defecting to the south, and speed skater Lee Sang-hwa, who's a world record holder and won 2 gold medals for South Korea at the Winter Olympics. They're going to strike the bell 33 times, which is a Buddhist tradition that we use here in the South. So I'm going to be bringing you live updates on that. But for now, Happy New Year, Daniel.
Happy New Year to you in advance as well. Thank you for that report. Next, we have our Kan Young-woo standing by at the Imjingak Resort in Gyeonggi-do Province, where New Year's Eve festivities are on. Hyung-woo, the venue is fairly near the military demarcation line separating the two Koreas. How close are you to the border exactly?
Good evening, Daniel. So the Imjingak Resort is only 7 kilometers south of the military demarcation line and some 15 kilometers away from the North Korean city of Kaesong. Right now, I'm standing in front of the Imjingak Pavilion's Peace Bell, where the lights are turned on to welcome 2019. And behind me, it's really dark, so it's hard to see anything. But that's the northern side of the border, where North Koreans will also be celebrating the start of a new year. Although there's no way to say for sure what kind of celebrations are taking place in the north tonight, South Korean visitors here at the Imjingak resort are hoping for further improvements in inter-Korean relations.
This year saw a lot of improvement in relations between the two Koreas, with a number of inter-Korean summits taking place.
I hope the road to peace will open up next year. They say North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will visit Seoul, so hopefully the road to peace does open.
The Imjingak resort was already one of the most famous tourist attractions related to the Korean War, not only for Koreans, but also for foreign visitors. But after the historic Panmunjom summit back in April, the number of visitors nearly tripled. The resort is a symbol of hope for reunification between the two Koreas, and it could see even more visitors next year as Seoul and Pyongyang continue to work together to achieve lasting peace on the Korean peninsula. That's all from me for now, but as more people gather for the festivities, I'll be back to bring you more of the atmosphere on our later newscast. Daniel.
All right, Hyung, good to hear that the music is being used not as a propaganda weapon, but as something to promote peace between the two Koreas and celebrate the New Year. Thank you for that. Now, let's see how the southwesternmost part of Korea is doing at this hour. Our Hongyu is at Ttangkkeut Village in Haenam-gun, Jeollanam-do province. How is the New Year's Eve going over there, Yu?
Hi, Daniel. Hundreds of people have gathered here at Ttangkkeut Village to both wrap up the year and to start the new year, as this is the place to see the sunset and the sunrise. And for the visitors who are waiting for the New Year's to come, the village has prepared a diverse variety of events such as the sheaf burning event. Sheaf burning is an old tradition in Korea where people used to pile up stacks of pine leaves and branches and burn them at midnight to welcome the new year. Koreans do this to wish for a prosperous new year filled with joy and light. According to local superstitions, if the stack burns evenly, it will be a rich year, and if the fire dies, it'll be a year of famine. Families and friends are also looking forward to the Gangang-sulle, a traditional Korean dance where people grab each other's hands and dance in a circle. In the past, people used to do this dance to wish for a fruitful year and important holidays such as Chuseok and Seollal. But today they will do the Gangang-sulle dance to electronic dance music. So let's wait and see what happens at midnight. Back to you, Daniel.
Very updated and tech-savvy, as you are, Hong Yu, using a smartphone to connect to us live. For our viewers, please understand that there might be some hiccups and cuts along the way because we are using a smartphone connecting to our Hong Yu at Ttangkkeut Village. Now, let's go on to southeasternmost part of Korea. Choi Si-young is standing by at Yongdusan Park in Busan, the country's second most populous city. Si-young, do explain what the oversized piggy bank is supposed to represent to us.
Well, good evening, Daniel. I'm standing in front of this giant piggy bank because the year 2019 is the year of the pig, the 12th animal of 12 Chinese zodiac signs. Now, this is an annual event held in Busan to celebrate the New Year's Eve with the bell ringing. It's very close and similar to the one we see in Seoul at Bosingak village. At 11 p.m., the festival kicks off with a concert including traditional Korean percussion music, followed by an orchestra. The countdown starts at 5 minutes till midnight, and at the 0 hour, they're going to strike the bell 33 times. The bell ringers will be Busan residents from all walks of life, students, workers, you name it, and the mayor too. The Busan skyline will also be lit up by fireworks for about a minute or so. And one thing special about this festival is that at the end, they're going to sing the song of Busan, the city's anthem. That's all for now. Back to you, Daniel.
All right, thank you for being out there for us. We appreciate it. Now, 2019 is the year of the golden pig, the 12th Chinese zodiac animal, as Si-young mentioned. It is a symbol of wealth and good fortune. While pigs are often thought of as lazy and unintelligent, according to our Kim Yo-sun, that's not exactly the case.
This pig is a pig of many talents. It knows how to dribble a ball and how to bowl. It can also bow to greet the audience. There are also cute mini pigs that can participate in racing games. Known to have a keen sense of smell, pigs are also very smart, despite what most people think.
Pigs are thought to be lazy and dumb, but they are actually very clean and smart, and you can even have them toilet trained. IQ tests have revealed that pigs can even outsmart dogs.
Moreover, pigs have great research value as a genetically modified pig's cornea transplanted into a monkey is showing great progress.
We believe the potential for big corneas for transplants is very high and will be used in clinical trials on humans before too long.
Pigs are often considered symbols of wealth and good fortune, which is why the birth rate during the years of the golden pig often surged by 10% in South Korea. Likewise, many people around the world are hoping the new year can bring them great fortune and wealth. Kim Hyun-sun, Arirang News.
On the last day of 2018, President Moon Jae-in and his top aides held a meeting that was streamed live for all Cheongwade staff. The South Korean leader asked his administration to get back to basics in the new year. Have a listen.
처음 업무를 맡았을 때 열정과 조심스러움이 교차하는 그 날선 느낌처럼 초심을 지켜나가야 합니다. 오직 국민만 바라보고 국민의 눈높이에 서서 다시 한번 신발끈을 동여매어 줄 것을 당부합니다.
He praised the staff for the achievements made over the past year, saying 2018 heralded a new era of peace on the peninsula, citing historic events like the 3 inter-Korean summits. Moon also praised the shift in the nation's economic paradigm to one more centered on the people, especially with the minimum wage hike. The president commended his top aides and staff for their hard work and asked for continued efforts next year to build an inclusive nation and to make sure progress made towards peace on the Korean peninsula is irreversible. At the top office today, President Moon and the leadership of the ruling Democratic Party of Korea held their final working lunch of the year. Moon thanked the ruling party leadership for their work in supporting the government's policies and discussed the issues facing the nation in the new year. Looking back on 2018, the president noted the discussions that took place on changing South Korea's economic paradigm and its relationship with the North. He also expressed hopes those discussions between the ruling party, the government, and the presidential office continue in 2019. The National Assembly is grilling senior members of the Moon administration for allegedly ordering the illegal surveillance of civilians for political purposes. Lawmakers are questioning Presidential Chief of Staff Im Jong-seok and his Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs Cho-guk about their alleged involvement in a scandal sparked by a special inspector from the prosecution who claimed he illegally gathered information about civilians while working for the top office. But the duo said there has been no such spying on their part. Im apologized for not being able to screen out someone like the inspector in the first place. Cho was also firm that the Moon administration did not do what it's accused of, adding that the truth will eventually be revealed through the prosecutor's investigation. The government voted to increase the nation's minimum wage by almost 11% in 2019. Criticisms and complaints are sure to follow as it's been a controversial issue in the private sector. Cha Sang-mi explains further.
The cabinet has voted to raise South Korea's minimum wage in the new year by 10.9%. That will bring the minimum wage from the current $6.80 to $7.50. That measure was approved today in the cabinet's last meeting of the year, led by Prime Minister Lee Na-kyun. To calculate wages, monthly pay is divided by the number of working hours. Workers get basic pay plus 8 paid hours of weekend work, which Korean companies give to employees who do a normal 5-day week. Under the new formula, that extra weekend work will be added to the standard monthly hours. The math works so that companies will have to boost basic pay to meet the minimum wage.
The revision to the ordinance is simply implementing the old administrative explanation, not an additional hike to the minimum wage. The contentious weekend pay has been in place since 1953 for 65 years.
Acknowledging the greater burden on employers who will have to pay more, the PM vowed to waive card processing fees, give them work grants, and establish a job stability fund. There's been pushback from smaller businesses, though, who fear they will struggle to meet payroll, as the government raised the minimum wage this year, too, by 16.4%. Cha Sang-mi, Arirang News.
Statistics Korea released its data on consumer prices for December. It shows a slowdown from the previous month. For 2018 as a whole, inflation has been lower than the previous year. Kim Hye-sung breaks down the digits for us.
South Korea's consumer prices rose 1.3% on year in December, the lowest increase in 5 months. Statistics Korea says agricultural goods prices rose by double digits, but falling global oil prices drove down overall consumer prices, leading to a slowdown from the roughly 2% on-year price gain seen in September, October, and November. Petroleum goods prices fell nearly 3% on-year, showing a negative trend for the first time since November 2016, and lower oil prices and the government's fuel tax cut. Agricultural goods prices in December went up 10.7%, prices of rice soared by nearly 24%, and tomatoes were up 30%. Electricity, water, and gas prices rose 1.4%, slowing from the previous month after a cut in gas prices. Core inflation, excluding food and energy prices, rose by 1.1% in December. For 2018 as a whole, prices rose 1.5%, below the Bank of Korea's target of 2%. It's also lower than 2017's 1.9%, but higher than 2016's 1% gain. Agriculture, meat, and seafood prices rose near 4% on year in 2018. Industrial goods rose slightly by 1.3%, but electricity, water, and gas fell by nearly 3%. Statistics Korea said in 2018, weather conditions like the heat wave in the summer led to agricultural price gains, but falling electricity and gas prices slowed down overall inflation. Kim Hye-sung, Arirang News.
The revised Seoul-Washington Free Trade Agreement will take force starting January 1st, putting an end to the series of discussions by the two sides held earlier this year to settle disputes regarding the 6-year-old deal. The government says the speedy execution is expected to lessen uncertainties regarding bilateral trade. Kim Ji-yeon has the full story.
The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy said Monday the U.S. and South Korea are to exchange written statements, confirming they've completed the legal and procedural requirements for the revised FTA to take effect. The revised deal was signed by the two countries in September and was ratified by the National Assembly in early December. Under the revised deal, the two countries agreed that entities will be prevented from filing petitions in multiple jurisdictions under the investor-state dispute settlement provisions, and lawsuits that are filed without substantial evidence are to be promptly dismissed. Also, the two sides have agreed to notify each other in advance if they decide to impose tariffs and to reveal how the rates were calculated and determined. They also agreed to enforce strict rules when it comes to determining the place of origin of textile goods and to establish a working group to verify the origin of goods. The two sides also agreed to further discuss recognizing Korea's premium pricing policy for global innovative drugs, in which domestic drug developers can qualify for a 10% price premium on newly developed medicines. On provisions related to the auto industry, the two countries agreed the U.S. will continue to impose 25% tariffs on imported light trucks and pickup trucks until 2040, rather than scrapping these tariffs in 2021 as initially scheduled. Considering the imposition of auto safety regulations, South Korea is to double the number of U.S. car imports up to 50,000 vehicles that it will acknowledge as passing safety regulations equivalent to that of Korea's. Regarding car emission standards, the two sides agreed to recognize the Global Eco-Innovation Credit, which refers to any technology new to the auto market that contributes to significant CO2 savings and takes into account American emissions when setting domestic standards. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
And in the new year, the nation's military will launch its new Artificial Intelligence Research Center to boost combat capabilities using the latest tech of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The Army announced Monday that its AI R&D Center will be launched later this week. A staff of around 50 civilians and military personnel will apply AI and big data technologies to advance Seoul's military operations. The Army aims to provide its high-tech uniform called the Warrior Platform to all units by the year 2022. It's also working to use drones more widely, and in order to achieve these goals, the military plans to work with a range of institutions, academic, military, and business, both in and outside of Korea. Continuing our look back at the biggest stories of 2018, one K-pop group hogged the spotlight in and outside the nation throughout the year, BTS. The 7-member boy band smashed record after record. Our Seoul highlights some of their many accomplishments.
In 2018, the Korean mega group BTS pushed the boundaries of what K-pop can achieve on the world stage. BTS had 2 #1 albums on the Billboard 200 with Love Yourself Tear in June and Love Yourself Answer in September. This was the first time a K-pop album topped the U.S. chart and was the first time in 12 years that an album in a foreign language achieved such a feat.
Getting 2 albums on the Billboard 200 is monumental, and the fact that their singles, Fake Love and Idol, were listed on the Hot 100 Singles chart makes it no exaggeration to say that BTS has conquered both the album and the singles chart.
In addition, BTS became the first Korean artist to feature on the cover of the global edition of Time magazine. Time described the group as the most popular boy band in the world and even compared their performances to the Beatles and One Direction. BTS were also the first ever Korean artists to address the United Nations and were invited to help the launch of UNICEF Generation Unlimited, an education and employment program for young people. The band's leader RM delivered a speech to the General Assembly and encouraged people to love themselves as they are, reiterating the theme of the group's Love Yourself albums. An expert says this connection with their fans is a major reason for the band's success.
BTS have successfully applied various aspects of their lives, sadness, joy, and love to their songs, which have drawn their fans' sympathy, strengthening emotional ties between the boy group and their fans.
The group will start New Year on their Love Yourself World Tour with gigs in Japan and Singapore in January, continuing to perform their fans all over the world. Seoul, Arirang News.
2018 also marked another huge step forward for mankind as we delve deeper into the darkest reaches of space. NASA's InSight spacecraft landed on Mars in late November. Park Ji-won zooms in on this remarkable achievement.
After cruising some 550 million kilometers from Earth, NASA's InSight spacecraft landed on Mars on November 26, 2018. It was a voyage of more than 6 months since its launch in California on May 5th. But it was only after a nail-biting 7 minutes as the spacecraft entered the Martian atmosphere that scientists and engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory were able to confirm that their probe had landed on the surface. And then they erupted into cheers and applause.
The whole room went crazy. My inner 4-year-old came out, but it was not bad. Some of the people on the team had made a timeout area for me just in case. I didn't have to use it. But it was an incredible experience, and it was amazing.
Minutes after the landing, the lander started sending back pictures of the red planet.
That first image from the Viking lander, that bright red image, we'd seen all these nice black and white images from the moon, and they were amazing, but this bright red image from Mars, and the first image from another planet, and now I'm looking at this image from InSight, and it's just, it's like a full circle of a whole career, working towards understanding Mars better.
The name InSight stands for Interior Exploration using Seismic Investigations, Geodesy, and Heat Transport, which encompasses the lander's 2-year mission. InSight aims to measure the size of Mars' core and to explore interior layers of the planet, which formed 4.5 billion years ago along with Earth. Specifically, NASA hopes to look at seismic activity on Mars, how often it experiences quakes, how big they are, and for what reasons, so it can understand the planet inside and out. InSight landed near the planet's equator and is about 600 kilometers away from where the Mars rover Curiosity landed back in 2012. NASA's long-term goal on Mars is to send a manned mission there by the 2030s or 2040s. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Time to turn to Michelle back at the Weather Center for the updates you need. Michelle, the nation is expected to reel under a cold wave through New Year's Day tomorrow.
That's right, Daniel. So you should definitely bundle up, like wearing furry mittens like me, to celebrate the New Year's Day, as freezing weather along with some strong winds continue to affect the peninsula. In fact, the mercury in Seoul is forecast to remain in the negative territory during the New Year's Day. And for those of you checking out the first sunrise of the New Year tomorrow, the sky condition is favorable nationwide except for Jeju Island. And in Seoul, the sun will rise at 7:47 a.m. Korea time and a little earlier for the southeast cities such as Pohang and Busan. Now make sure you are dressed warmly to see the sun as Seoul welcomes the first sunrise of 2019 at -8 degrees Celsius, and Daegu and Gyeongju begins at -6 and -5 degrees respectively. And Seoul will stay below zero all day long while other regions rise to higher readings, but still cold nevertheless due to the wind chill factor. Now, the first week of 2019 is outlined with clear skies, and starting Thursday, temperatures will start to recover back to the seasonal norms. Happy New Year's, everyone, and I'll leave you with the weather conditions around the world.
That's all we have for you on this year's last edition of Arirang News Center. Thank you for staying with us as always. Here's wishing you an incredible 2019.